to Masterclass Monday with DrDanni. Today we are excited to be launching our new radio presence to talk a little bit about what's going on with the Women's Business Center in Richmond, located on the campus of Virginia Union University. And this entire series is really focused on shining the light on bosses, boss ladies, boss women, bossing up. This idea of understanding that some bosses are born, some are made, but at the end of the day, it takes everything that we have in us as women to launch our businesses. And we're going to talk a little bit about, creatives at some point. We'll talk about what goes into their process, what it is that they do and they love to do, but they don't walk to the same beat that some of us who came out of the corporate arena. Right?
Yes.
Some of them had get fired to find themselves. Yes. So our five creatives are going to come into play. And then we're going to talk about where is the money. You cannot cash out if you don't first cash in.
Well.
So we're excited to be on WQCN, The Choice 105.3. And today we have a boss's boss in the house. We are with Carol Reese from Reesources, Inc. Carol, I could sit here and talk a little bit about you, but I would like for you to take this moment to kind of say, if our listeners only listen for a short period of time, what should they walk away with from you?
That business is a journey. And in any journey, you have highs and lows, and you have points where you come to a fork in the road. You have to have faith to understand which direction to take, and you will take the wrong direction, and it's okay. It is okay, because that is the part of the journey. Without the journey, there is no testimony, and without the testimony, there's no way for you to share it with the next business.
That's awesome. I really, when I listened to you earlier and we were talking a little bit about your story, what I was intrigued by is that if you look at it on paper, it might not look good.
Right.
But sometimes you got to take that faith walk. And we talked a little bit about, being your own boss, being your own CEO. Were you a boss before you launched your company and became your CEO?
I thought I was. my employers may not have believed it. I believe that I've been so very blessed to be able to come out of high school at a young age, and one of my first jobs at 19 was with the FBI. And so every job I've ever had, I tried to master what that job offered and then learn something different. But in corporate America, that was not my place as a black woman in corporate America, which took me a hard time to wrap my mind around, which led me to understand that I needed to own my own business. And by working for Michael and Rosemary Clark, the Clark agencies in the 80s, a married couple, that's when I understood what that really meant. And I've been very blessed to work for some of the first black insurance man to reach $1 million, first black surveyor, first black woman to own her own registered broker agency, financial corporation. And it taught me some things, and I learned some things, but it wasn't my choice. I was called to do what I do.
Okay, now we talked a little bit about being made and being called. What do you mean when you say you were called?
When you are willing to do something for free, and it comes naturally to you, and you adapt to it and you do it well, then that's a gift that you didn't earn that through college. You didn't do that by learning. You were given that gift, and that gift was for you to do a specific thing with. So that's how I look at me and working with small businesses. I worked for a very long time helping, and to this day I still do free things for businesses because this is my gift, right? So how do you put a price on a gift? And I'm working with that, but I believe that when you have a gift, you are called to use that gift. And that gift is what makes you make that difference on your journey, which you're supposed to do.
So most people, when they go through a journey, and as I was listening to you, the gift, you're not always born. You might be born with a gift, but you may not always be born knowing you have the gift. Exactly. And I would like for you to talk a little bit about how you discovered your gift. We talked a little bit about getting fired. Maybe you can Tell me a little bit about how you stumbled and trembled, or maybe it was just easy. It's pie for you. You just woke up one day and said, "This is what I'm supposed to do."
Oh no, girl! I took the long way. Like my mama would say, I went all the way around the barn to get to the front door. Understand? I took the long journey, and I want to say to business owner, if there is anything that you can do wrong, I've done it, or my peers have done it. Mm-hmm. Everything backwards, incorrect. But what led me to believe that I had a gift, and I didn't recognize that I had this gift until I was years into my business, was the feedback from my clients, right? Okay. It was the different type of clients that gave me the information back to let me know that this is what I was supposed to do. Okay. And then confirmation, of course, from my God, right? Okay. Because I pray before I meet with any client, I pray every morning to give me what I need to give that client. And sometimes when I'm talking to a client, I'm very surprised what comes out of my mouth. And I'm saying, and one of my employees was like, "How did you come up with that?" I said, "It had nothing to do with me." Because sometimes you're just the messenger, right?
Shout out to God and the Holy Spirit.
You know what I'm saying? You're just a conduit to get that information out. And that's what I see myself as a conduit for other businesses, to give them what they're supposed to have from me to get to the next level.
Oh yeah, so next level stuff. So
yes.
Can you talk about the phases? One of the things on this show, which is it's interesting that we're on the station called The Choice.
Yes.
Because you have to make a choice
yes.
to do this. Yes. It can't be something that you just want to try on. You got to be committed. And our focus is really on trying to bring in people who are beyond that 5-year mark in their business.
Yes.
And you've been in business for over a decade. And so just being able to share some perspective about the different phases that you going through. Was there ever a time that you thought, you know what, let me get this up. I'm going back to corporate America. That money was easier than I thought it was going to be doing what I'm doing.
Well, throughout owning a business, I have worked, and I had to raise my kids and in the economy and situation, but I never gave up my business, right? I think that what we have to decide as business owners is that we're going to do this. We're going to make this work. If this is what's been placed in our heart, and we have to adapt, sometimes we got to swivel, sometimes we got to pivot, sometimes we got to come at it a different direction, then we have to do what we have to do. But if you have been blessed with a gift, and it could be race car driving, it could be building a pivot, whatever it is that you're doing, and you know that, then God will give you what you need. It may not come when you think it should, but I can guarantee you that it will. And you be like, what? Was it that easy? I mean, sometimes I'm like, really?
I mean, but Carol, what you're saying is beyond measure. Meaning, right. You're talking about a framework of operating. You talk about going through difficulties and being yes. encouraged. But we talking in platitudes way up here. I need you to come down and share some of those real stories.
The real stories.
Because we want to connect with people, and they say, "Oh, we can talk
right.
about we've been through trying times."
Right.
But I want you to share.
So I'm going to share a couple of stories. So one of the things is when I first started my business, I didn't have a plan. My first business. This is my second business. And I can say from experience, when you don't have a plan, you plan to fail. A lot of people believe that they have everything that they need and they can develop the plan as they go. But the reality is your plan is your roadmap. How am I going to get from Richmond, Virginia to Los Angeles, California in this car? You have to have a direction. Have to know where the rest areas are, where the gas stations are, where the bumps are, where the bad roads are, where the bridges are. You need to have that information so as you travel, you know when to stop and where not to go. And so with the business plan, it's that platform that helps you do that. I believe every business should have 5 things: a business coach, a mentor, an investor, a cheerleader, and most importantly, a sponsor. Right? You need someone out there in those categories helping you. You need that cheerleader saying, "Girl, you got it. You're going to do it." You need that investor that says, "I'm going to invest some time. I'm going to invest some money. I got some resources. I have some paper over here, a computer over here." And you need that sponsor that says, "Okay, you go to that event. I'm going to pay for your table." Or I'm going to have you come to an event that we're having. I want you to meet some people. You need those things. You need that coach for your accountability. You need that mentor to help you that's in your industry to say, yes, you're going to hit that brick wall, but we're going to go over the wall. We don't have to go through it. Okay. You need those kind of things.
Because when you go through it, you just might bump your head.
You're going to bump your head.
Well,
right.
Shout out to Mike King with Mike King Biz Network, because he has been my mentor and my coach. I mean, I'm going to tell you, I would not be sitting here before you today going out on this idea of putting our best and our brightest out there, that there is someone out there that is listening to us. that has a business idea, that may even have written a business plan, but we want you to take it off the shelf, dust it off. There are people who are out here to help you. I didn't know that I was going to become a radio host. I mean, Mike said, look, you know, when you paid your money, you didn't know what you were getting into. But the truth of the matter is that when there is, you know, I'm going to say this, and I slow down because you never know who's in your audience, but there's a book that tells us that our gift will make room for us.
Make room for us.
Make room.
Yes, indeed.
And so
yes,
this is that type of platform where we want people who, again, who have maybe the dream has been deferred for a little while.
Right.
To know and to connect, because it's just like our walk as Christians.
Yes.
When you think about it, people look at you now and they say, oh, she always been good.
I'm sorry.
So I ain't the only one. My mother used to always tell me, an empty wagon make a lot of noise. So I hear you over there, girl. But the truth of the matter is that it's taken a journey. And so, have you ever had a difficult client that they just want you to do something that wasn't possible? Can you share, how do you work through those moments where you know?
At first you want to please the client because you don't want to lose it or have a bad reputation. Then you get to the point where you fire the client or the client fires you, and it's okay, right? Because we all have a certain tolerance. So what I had to learn to do was say, you know, I think that our relationship has come to the end, and I've done all that I can do. Let me refer you to someone that can help you, right? You always want to end it on a positive note, even if they are driving you crazy, okay? Because we all have different personalities, and I am an attractor of people who are challenged a lot of times, right? So that means that they have their mind set on what they want and how they want it, and sometimes they can't hear. And it's okay, because I know that they don't have to hear me at that moment, but later on it may absorb. As long as I do my part, then I've done my part. And there are some people that you may find it's difficult to work with. So what you have to do is plan to let them go. You know, you don't get angry in a conversation, say, well, I'm not going to do this no more. You say, I looked at it, I researched it, and this is what I found that's going to help you. And I'm going to help you bridge that gap to me to the next level. You know, I may not be with you on that journey. You've outgrown me. And make it about them and not about you. Right?
That's a good drop-off point, because I think, you know, when I hear you talk that way, it takes me back to my corporate days on how you manage and deal with difficult people. But also it takes me to my days of being a wife and being a mother. I think that those are some of the best experiences you can have before you become a boss. Can you talk a little bit about, you know, and I'm pushing on it because I want to have some fun, and you sitting here giving me all the textbook answers, but I know that sometimes that you cross paths with somebody, you want to say, I'm going to wring your neck. And, you know, sometimes clients act like kids.
Yes, they do. And you know what I have realized is, now, I'm talking as a person who is on her journey. Had you interviewed me 15 years ago, it would have been a different Carol sitting here, okay?
What would that Carol, what kind
Girl,
of things
you
would
know
that
what I had to do. But I had to push her to the side. And what I realized is that we have to recognize two things. If you're dealing with women, and I deal with women, a lot of women, I deal with some men, we have to recognize when our sisters are broken. Because a broken sister is used to pain, so they cause pain unknowingly. In their attitude,
I need
in their
you to
talk.
slow down on that point.
Yes.
A broken sister is used to pain, so she causes pain.
Right.
Okay.
Right. And so, in recognizing that pain, you see it, depending how far you are on your spiritual walk, right?
Okay.
And so, what you have to do is either help them address that pain, or you have to give them something to alleviate it so you're out of that picture.
Okay.
And sometimes I believe that God sends us people that's supposed to be with us, or just for a reason or a season for a short time, right? So maybe that person is not the person you're supposed to work with. They need someone else in a different area.
Yeah.
And so you can't feel bad about that, right? I used to beat myself up. How do I help this person? Nothing I do satisfies this person. They call me midnight and on the weekends, and nothing I do is right. I have two phones. I have a personal phone and a business phone, because I was getting calls all times of the day and night because I did that. That was my fault, right? But as I have found that when you see people who are unnecessarily hurting, or you see the pain that they're trying to cause, or they do, and sometimes so unconscious because they can't see it, because this is what they're used to doing, that you have to realize how to handle that. And that's not going back and causing pain or continuing on a negative path. It's to feed that positivity and to let them be the one to walk away. Because 9 times out of 10, if they're not ready to heal, to be receptive, then they will walk away. Yeah.
That's interesting. I remember when I used to talk to people who were educators, and they would talk about, before I can pour anything into these kids that are coming in here at this Title I school, I might have to give them a snack. Meet the need. I hear you saying sometimes you got to go through the healing process.
Yes.
Sometimes you're not the one that's supposed to heal, and you have to direct them in another direction. I'm a firm believer that the light is going to draw and it's going to drive.
Yes.
It's going to draw what's supposed to be drawn to you, and if it's for a season, and then it'll help release. And it can drive. I mean, did you have any haters along the journey?
Gosh, I did. I didn't even know it, right? Because I'm oblivious. I don't read faces. And so I was at this event, and I shall not mention the name of the event, and this table of females, and I didn't know none of them liked me. But I went over, and I heard whispers as I was coming, but I still went, because I don't really care how other people feel about me. Let's understand that. And I'm going to speak, and sometimes I even hug a person I know that don't like me. You know what I'm saying?
I'm in that club.
Yeah, because how you feel about me is your personal business.
Right, but if I don't have anything against you.
I don't have anything against you, so
okay,
it does not bother me at all. And I tend to add those people to my prayer list. Now, I've had a lot of conversations about that with my family and one of my sisters, and I have 6 of them. Y'all don't know which one I'm talking about. But, about how to release someone from your spirit, and the best way to do that is to pray for them. I know that, right? If you pray for them, then the relief comes to you, and they're no longer part of the thorns. Because we wear all these scars and thorns from other people, and I'm so glad that I'm at the point I'm at peace of mind, right? And I don't have to do that anymore. But at one time, I was that people pleaser, and I don't ever want to go back. Don't take me back,
Okay.
And now I'm a God pleaser,
Okay.
right? That's what I try to strive for. And it's not easy, because the old Carol wants to slip out at any time, be like, oh, I got to take my earring. The people that I was trying to target to hear me weren't the people that were supposed to hear me, but I didn't know that.
So, I mean, that's true enlightenment, because at the Women's Business Center of Richmond, we really look to be a counselor, a business counselor, advisor, a coach.
Yes.
We're looking to connect people
Right.
for the purpose of doing business, because just like my mentor always says, we believe that businesses can make communities better.
Right.
And most times when I cross paths with women who are in business, they're coming at it with a passion for what they do and the impact that it can have.
Yes.
And so that whole thing just opens up an opportunity for you to grow into who you are and whose you are,
Yes.
such that you can make a difference.
Yes.
And so,
Yes.
I think that we need to pay homage to some folks that
Yes.
that have sown into our professional careers.
definitely.
Who would you like to give a shout
Girl,
out
the
to?
list is so long. Charlene Reynolds from Creative Insurance. She is my life angel. She's one of my prayer angels. I call on J.B. Bryan from J.B. Bryan Financial Group. I have so many. Naomi Weathers from Weathers Engineering. Shirley Crawford from the Women's Business Center. I mean, it's just so many. And I have family members. When I say to you that I was blessed, no matter where I worked or what I did, to have women bring me up. Good women. They had faith already, and they added something more to me. And I try to tell clients that your circle, you should have several circles, but you should have a circle of female friends or friends that are above you, where you want to go. And you have a circle of friends that keep you grounded. You should not have yes people
Right.
in your world.
Right, because yes people, you go over the cliff and they just say yes.
Yes, exactly.
Yes. Well,
Exactly.
And that part leads me to this idea of really unfolding a little bit more about Resources Inc. Can you tell me a little bit about the types of services that Resources Inc. is involved in?
My favorite thing to do, I do all the things I love to do, right? So strategic coaching, business coaching is one of my favorite things to do, because if I can talk to a client one time and give them what they need, then that's good for me. Strategic planning, helping them plan out that roadmap. That's another thing I like to do. And data, A lot of small businesses don't realize the importance of the data they collect, the data they have, and how to measure their clients and how to measure their success. If someone were to come in, how do you know you were successful? They're looking at their books and their financial side, but are you looking at the clients you served and how well you served them? Are you keeping up with the data that they provided you, the feedback, and looking at longevity from year to year, you know, things like that. So I love the data part, collecting the data, organizing it, building databases for clients, but mostly coaching is my thing.
Okay.
Yeah, I love that piece.
Outstanding.
Yeah.
So if you were talking to your younger self, not necessarily going back 15 years, but
Okay.
with the first business, but maybe the
first business.
second business,
Yes.
what is it that you wished you had known that you know now and it has served you well?
Faith.
Mm.
I would put my plan with the faith plan, right? So when you start, you have all these ideas of things you want to do, and you try to do them, but if you don't have a faith plan, then your regular plan doesn't work. Now, I don't expect everybody to have the same kind of faith, but you should have some kind of faith that this is going to work. Because we all know that you may be high on that roller coaster. You up high, you got everything going, but the bottom will drop unknowingly at any point in time. And that faith is what gives you the energy to go back up again. So I would have a faith plan starting out. I would hire an accountant immediately because I'm awful with numbers, okay? Awful. And I would have my business coach when I start.
Okay.
I would
That's
definitely
good. You
start
heard
with
it,
that.
folks. You really need to think about where the business falls within what you feel led to do, what you feel uniquely gifted to do.
Yes.
And that'll help you go through some of the tough times.
Yes.
You need to make sure that you're not just trying to get in business, you're trying to thrive in business. And up shipping, and you start adding up advertising, you start adding up space.
Yes.
It costs you $1.05 to get it out the door. So now you're not revenue positive.
Right.
You're negative.
Right. Exactly.
So I really, appreciate you sharing some insight and understanding your numbers. And then this idea of, have someone who's been where you're trying to go
Yes.
to be in your corner
Yes.
that can coach you through rough spots, or
Yes.
maybe help you to see it down the corner around the street.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
all you're doing is, and I always tell people we need to be able to pull in and learn from when we win a contract.
Right.
And when we don't win a contract. You said
Yes.
something earlier as we begin to round this thing out, and needing to understand and hear from your clients and know what they value, know what their pain points are.
Right.
Can you talk a little bit more about how you learn from your clients? Do you use surveys? Do you just ask them direct? Do you
Yes.
listen to? Talk to me about that.
So I do surveys. I'm late this year, but I do surveys for my clients, and then I talk to my clients, right? And I have to say that I have great clients, whether they stay or go. I have great clients, and we talk real talk, and in talking that real talk, I can help them in a realistic manner. And then I do like to do surveys where they're anonymous. Nobody's name is on it. They just supply that information, and that helps me a lot. Right, and then I look to my peers in the industry, because Richmond is a very small business community, and if there's something going on, everybody's going to know about it.
Yeah.
And so once in a while, I'll say, "Hey, what's word on the street?"
Right.
And stuff like that. So it's just really understanding how your particular audience would give you feedback. So everybody doesn't like surveys because we right now we are inundated with Zoom calls and all these virtual things. Sometimes they just want to talk to you and give it back to you.
So maybe a little peer focus group.
Yeah, peer focus group, a check-in call. Hey, how you doing?
Yeah. Well, great. We really do thank you and appreciate all that you bring to bear here on Masterclass Monday with the WBC Richmond. We'd like to hear your feedback. We are on The Choice, 105.3 FM, WQCN, and we are going to be here with you every Monday from 2:30 to 3 o'clock. But you can hit us up on our socials at the WBC Richmond on all platforms, or give us a shout at area code 804-525-9499. That's 804-525-9499. We want to get your feedback, and we'd like to entertain some of you on this program. We have